So, you got insulin resistance. How do you know that you don't have decreased insulin production by your beta cells and normal insulin metabolism? Actually, we often don't know that for sure. There is a way to measure that. It's called whole body insulin sensitivity index, or the WBISI. There's also another term for it called the euglycemic clamp. Now, how does that work? I'll tell you in just a minute, but first an introduction. Ford Brewer, PrevMed, heart attack, stroke, cancer prevention, disability prevention. The number one causes of disability are stroke and dementia. Again, and the number one and number three causes of death, heart attack, and stroke. So major issues. All of these driven primarily by insulin resistance. And in fact, it does appear that maybe the vast majority of the damage is done before we even get diabetes, type 2 diabetes, but when we're in that insulin resistant state. We need to understand what insulin resistance is better than we do. So this is a research technique, but it's important in helping us understand insulin resistance. So this is being done in a lab animal, and we'll show the diagram in a minute with a man. The whole body insulin sensitivity index, or the euglycemic clamp, is basically taken by first doing an IV and flowing insulin into the body. What happens when you put insulin into the veins of a lab animal or a human? The blood glucose drops. If the person is insulin resistant, it takes more insulin for that blood glucose to drop. Now, when that blood glucose begins dropping, we need to add glucose to keep the animal from getting hypoglycemic. So now you begin to understand the euglycemic clamp. Basically, if you're insulin resistant, you require more insulin for the blood sugar to drop and less glucose. On the other hand, if you're not insulin resistant, less insulin and relatively more glucose to keep that euglycemic, or euglycemia, eu means normal, to keep that normal glycemic state. Here's another diagram, basically using a human as the subject here. Now, where do you use this? For example, you can see in this article in Diabetes, what they're looking for is the difference between younger and older individuals that used a lot of endurance training and their insulin resistance. And guess what? People that exercise a lot have less insulin resistance. You thought maybe we guessed at all of that, or you thought that it was done maybe through other methods, but that's how it's done. And again, that will help us as we begin to understand other concepts and research as well. For example, I'll do another video talking about the triglyceride over HDL ratio. It's also an indicator of insulin resistance. There are studies where they've confirmed ethnic differences, for example, in that triglyceride over HDL ratio. They've done that using the whole body insulin sensitivity index, or the, excuse me, the euglycemic clamp as a confirmatory method. Thank you.